Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our preview of the 2014 Heart of Dallas Bowl between the UNLV Rebels and the North Texas Mean Green. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the UNLV. Now here are some coaching points for both teams in this ball game. For North Texas, they have to bracket Devontae Davis, the outstanding wide receiver for UNLV. Take away their number one option and force Herring to go to other targets throughout the course of this ball game. And you have to stay ahead of the chains versus the Rebels. This is a football team that struggles to get off the field on third downs. And if you're ahead of the chains, you're playing winning football. And they have to generate big plays in the special teams department. That's one way you can take a team out of a ball game, by winning in every facet. Special teams plays a huge role in the outcome of this matchup. And for UNLV in this ball game, the run defense has to excel. They have to have a stellar performance. Right now, they're giving up over 5 yards to carry on the ground. That can't happen versus a team that can run the football like North Texas. And I'll also look at the quarterback, Caleb Herring. Outstanding player, has done a great job all season long, but this game, he's going to have to make those stick throws. They're going to see a lot of tight coverage from North Texas, and if he can make those stick throws accurately, they can move the football up and down the field. And on defense, they cannot give Derek Thompson time in the pocket. This is a guy that struggles to make quick decisions with the football. If they quicken his decisions, they can have some success and one, getting off the field and maybe causing a turnover. I like North Texas in this ball game. When you can play defense and get off the field, that's always key in any football game. You're going to win a lot of games. Now look at North Texas's defense versus teams similar to UNLV that can spread the football field and try to attack you in different quadrants of the field. They've always excelled, so I think North Texas will come away the 2014 Heart of Dallas Bowl champions. Next up, we have the Capital One Bowl between South Carolina and Wisconsin, and here are some coaching points for both teams in this ball game. For South Carolina, they cannot get outflanked defensively. If you allow Wisconsin to get the edge in a running game, they're going to have big plays on the ground with their outstanding tailbacks, White and also Gordon, so you cannot get outflanked defensively. Otherwise, it could be a long day, but you really should have to make Joel Staub beat you in the passing game. If you slow down the running game, put these guys in second and long, third and long situations, you're going to force Staub to make plays consistently in the passing game, and I believe that's a win for that Gamecock defense. And I would also stay in the spread. Wisconsin struggles versus teams that can spread the field and attack these guys in space. So if I'm Carolina, I'm staying in the spread and attacking the individual matchups. And for the Badgers in this ball game, the biggest matchup I'm going to be interested in watching is Jared Abadaris, outstanding wide receiver, going against Victor Hampton, the outstanding quarterback. This may be a matchup we're going to see many times on Sundays. Abadaris has to win that battle more often than not in order for the Badgers' passing game to have success. And on defense, I look at Chris Borland going against Connor Shaw. Let him be the spy. He's one of the best linebackers in the country. That way you force Connor Shaw to be consistently accurate and consistently effective inside the pocket and not outside. And on offense, I would go with heavy boss personnel. That's 3 tight ends on the football field and keep it inside, running downhill. Don't make this a horizontal game, make it a vertical game. I think that's how the Badgers can definitely knock off South Carolina. I like South Carolina in this ball game. This is a football team that's one play away from actually playing in the national championship game. So they're very solid on both sides of the ball, and I think they have the offense to cause problems for that Wisconsin defense. So I think the Gamecocks will win the 2014 Capital One Bowl. Next up, we have LSU taking on Iowa in the Outback Bowl. And for LSU in this ball game, I would limit the design quarterback runs for Anthony Jennings. Stay within the framework of the offense, and if the play breaks down, then he takes off. But don't call design run plays for your young quarterback. You have to force Iowa to cover the entire field. LSU has amazing receivers, and they do a great job of spreading the field, so you want to force them to cover every blade of grass. And on the defensive side, look at the defensive tackles, Anthony Johnson and Ego Ferguson. They have to win inside. If you want to beat Iowa, you're going to have to win on the interior and stop that running game with Mark Weissman. And for Iowa in this ball game, I believe they have to attack LSU's linebacking core. I think that's where they're weakest on the defensive side of football. So that's C.J. Fedorowicz, the tight end, getting him involved in the passing game, and also Mark Weissman, outstanding fullback, tailback. Get those guys involved and attack those linebackers, and you can have success. And I also look at defensive coordinator Phil Parker's chess match that he's going to play with a young freshman quarterback, Anthony Jennings, dialing up different pressures, different stunts, different looks in the secondary. And I think Iowa can definitely have a chance in slowing down that Tigers passing game. You want to make LSU earn it. Do not give up any cheap plays in the special teams department. They have an excellent special teams return unit. You want to make these guys earn it and make plays consistently and drive the length of the field. I like LSU in this ball game. Too many offensive weapons that can give Iowa problems, and they can't match up well in space. You look at both of the receivers in Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham, excellent after the catch. You also look at the bevy of backs they have in the backfield and a young dynamic quarterback in Anthony Jennings. So I see LSU winning the 2014 Outback Bowl. In the 100th edition of the Rose Bowl game, we have Stanford taking on Michigan State. And for Stanford in this ball game, it's very easy. You want to test the middle linebacker, Kyler Ellsworth, who's replacing Max Bullough on the inside. If he can't stop the run, this can be an easy victory for Stanford or be effective like Bullough would be in the middle. And the wide receivers have to win the individual matchups on the outside. Outstanding cornerbacks at Michigan State. Darquez Dinner is the guy that's going to play on Sundays. Those wide receivers have to win those matchups outside in order for this offense to stay balanced. You have to win the battle in the red zone. Quiet as kept. Stanford struggles in the red zone scoring touchdowns. They have to come away with 7 to put this Michigan State offense in a catch-up mode. Now for the Spartans, they have to own the edges offensively. If they're able to get to the outside like they were able to do against Ohio State, they can run the football all day versus Stanford. So those tackles and those tight ends have to do a great job in reaching those defensive ends and outside linebackers. And Connor Cook, the quarterback, has to beat the blitz. Stanford will try to send pressure all day long at Cook, trying to force him to make plays consistently. If he can beat the blitz, again, it goes a long way in helping Michigan State win this ball game. And on defense, I look at Isaiah Lewis, a talented, strong safety, and run support. If you can't stop Stanford from getting to the outside, you're going to see a lot of power, a lot of ISO, a lot of lead. If he can't stop the run, or if they can't stop the run as a team, they're going to struggle. So Isaiah Lewis has to have a big day in run support. I like Michigan State in this ball game. Well-balanced offensive attack, and I know they're missing Max Bullough in the middle, but everywhere else, the other 10 guys on this football team, on this defense, is very good. I think they'll do a great job matching up versus Stanford and being able to get these guys off the field. And offensively, they can run, they can operate off play action. They play efficient football, and I think they'll do a great job in knocking off Stanford in this year's edition of the Rose Bowl. And finally, we have a great game in the Fiesta Bowl between Central Florida and Baylor. And for Central Florida in this ball game, you want to avoid the track meet. Play Central Florida football. Don't allow Baylor to dictate the pace of the game. You don't want to get to a track meet with the fastest team in the country. And you have to win situations that's converting on third downs, that's coming away with 7s in the red zone. You have to get these guys off the field on third downs on the defensive side. So winning situationally, I believe, can help you win the ball game. You have to play with gap discipline versus a team that wants to spread the field and attack angles. They have speed in the backfield. Don't allow those guys to get outside. Don't be out of position. Otherwise, you're giving up a big play, not only on the ground, but also in the passing game. And for Baylor in this ball game, you want to be alert for the screen game. I'm pretty sure Central Florida will try to calm the pressure that you bring defensively with the screen game. If you're out of position, Storm Johnson can take one to the house. And Seastrunk and Martin in the backfield versus those linebackers of Central Florida, I think that's the biggest advantage they have right there in the box, getting those guys involved in not only the running game, but also in the passing game. Again, speed kills, and they have the advantage over Central Florida's linebackers. And you cannot lose contain versus Blake Bortles, whom a lot compare to Ben Roethlisberger. Keep him bottled up in that tackle box and force him to make plays consistently from within the tackle-to-tackle area. I like Baylor in this ball game, and this one will be a very close football game. A lot of points won't be scored, in my opinion. I think both defenses are excellent, and at times it will slow down each other's offense. Where Baylor has the advantage, they have the game breakers at every position on offense, so they don't need a lot of touches, and at any point in time they can make one play into a touchdown. So I think that's where Baylor has the advantage. So I see them winning a very close game versus Central Florida in the 2014 Fiesta Bowl.